After Andrew Ryan's classic monologue, he commands his son Jack to kill him. After doing so, we discover that Ryan's own personal Vita-Chamber had been powered off at that time. What was Andrew Ryan's reasoning for doing this? Did Andrew Ryan want to prove a point? Or is Andrew Ryan actually dead? We'll talk all about that and more within this video. My name's Erik, and welcome back to a brand new video here on the Bioshock Hub. Without any further delay, let's get into this. Here are 4 reasons as to why Andrew Ryan might have turned off his own personal Vita-Chamber. Sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy. So, you might have noticed that quite a while ago I indeed made this video. However, I didn't enjoy how it turned out. So, I'm making it up to you by redoing the video completely and updating everything, both visually, graphically, and most importantly, the audio. So all of this basically came from the recommendations in the comments. Shoutouts to you for doing so. The first reason is that obviously he did want to show for the last time he was a man and not a slave. So yes, he wanted to prove a point. He essentially shows that he has the free will to do as he pleases, while Jack has to obey him because of the "would you kindly" trigger phrase. He obviously discovered Atlas's plan before Jack and knew that his son became everything he despised and more. So, in one final act of defiance, he showed Jack how to die like a man rather than be controlled as a slave. This one, in my opinion, is more than likely the reason as to why his Vita-Chamber was turned off. He wanted to show Jack to die as a man and to not come back and rely on a Vita-Chamber to do so. However, the Vita-Chambers are going to come into play with the 4th reason, and that one is pretty wild. So let's jump into reason number 2. The second reason also actually ties in with the first one as well. He knew at that point in time the Rapture he wanted failed, hence why the self-destruct sequence was activated, and rather than fleeing or trying to escape, he essentially was the captain who went down with his ship. He was there in the beginning while building Rapture, the growth of the city, and finally breaking free from the parasites on the surface and seeing his vision of Rapture come true. So, what's to say he wouldn't be there to see everything that he built and created be destroyed? To me, that makes perfect sense, and I used the analogy, the captain who went down with his ship, because, quite frankly, that's what he did. He built Rapture from the ground up, well, technically, in the ocean from the ground up, you know what I mean? But he also was there to see it be destroyed, and rather than see it in the possession of one of his most hated adversaries, which we will talk about, he would have rather died a man and gone down with Rapture itself. So, again, to me, that makes perfect sense. So, for this third option, I want you to put yourself in the perspective of a parent. For those of you who happen to be watching this video and are a parent yourself, you'll know what I'm talking about and you'll know where I'm coming from. But try to put yourself in that perspective. So, the third option is a bit more on the emotional side, if you could actually imagine Andrew Ryan as an emotional person. Throughout the entirety of Rapture's downfall, through the Rapture Civil War, and everything in between, one person was always at the root of it. First, it was Frank Fontaine, who, quote, died in a shootout, though his body was never found. Then, and most importantly, it was Atlas. Atlas was the cause of Rapture's Civil War, and subsequently, Rapture's downfall. So I'd imagine Ryan would have an uncontrolled hatred towards him. Now, going back to the first theory of Ryan knowing about the "would you kindly" phrase, Atlas's plan in using Jack, Ryan's own son, against him, there's a slight possibility and I mean a slight possibility coming from a father that he would have rather died by his own flesh and blood, that being his son Jack, rather than giving Atlas the satisfaction of doing it himself. Now, I will admit, again, this is a bit of a stretch, but if I were in that personal situation as well, I personally think I'd rather be taken out by my own flesh and blood as well, rather than a hated enemy. Let me know what you think and what you would do in that situation down in the comment section below, would you kindly? So for the fourth and final reason, I think this is my personal favorite. At the beginning of the video, I asked kind of a rather odd question. I asked, or is Andrew Ryan actually dead? And keep in mind, this is a fan theory. It's an interesting one, but nonetheless, it's a fan theory, so let's get into that. The fourth and final reason, as mentioned, is a fan theory that's floated around ever since the release of Bioshock and when we first saw that Andrew Ryan died. Keep in mind, this is simply a fan theory that's been around for quite a long time, and I believe that it's an interesting idea to think about. That theory is that he isn't actually dead at all. Obviously, after his monologue, we do indeed see Jack kill Andrew Ryan at that point in time. And then we discover that Ryan's personal Vita-Chamber has been powered off. What a lot of people forget, however, is that Andrew Ryan had the entire city of Rapture in lockdown and limited the use of bathyspheres to only be used by the closest of his associates, as well as his own genetic code. Well, it just so happens that Jack, who's Andrew Ryan's son, shares that same genetic code, which allowed him to wander all throughout Rapture. It just so happens as well that there's dozens of other Vita-Chambers in Rapture which would have still been turned on at the time of Ryan's death. Could it be possible that Andrew Ryan, wanting to prove a point to his son Jack that a man chooses and a slave obeys, could have allowed Jack to kill him and escape after people weren't around? For that question and for this fan theory, I'll let you decide your own thoughts and opinions on that. I just wanted to present an interesting and fascinating theory that I personally like to think about. In conclusion, even though it would be incredible if that fan theory turned out to be true and we see Andrew Ryan and a brand new city within the new Bioshock, I sincerely doubt that that's the case. I personally believe that he not only wanted to prove a point to Jack that he'd rather die a man than to be controlled as a slave, but he also wanted to die along with this city and his dream of Rapture. With that, let me know if you have any other theories as well down in the comments. I'd love to hear your input. With that being said, thank you all for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any suggestions for future video topics, feel free to let me know. If you're new here and enjoy Bioshock content, would you kindly hit that subscribe button? Roughly 63% of those who watch these videos aren't subscribed, and it'd mean the world to me if you could do so today. I'm trying to hit 50,000 subscribers, and we're on the road to doing so. I promise you, you won't regret it, and if you do, you can unsubscribe. It is totally okay. If you want to help the video out, would you mind dropping a like, ringing the bell, and selecting all post notifications to never miss a future video or a future live stream. And with that, thank you all again so very much for watching. Take care, stay safe, and I'll talk to you all in the next video. Now, one last final thing before I go, I'd like to thank the YouTube channel members that help support this channel every month. If you'd like to support the channel and become a channel member yourself and get some awesome perks and a cool badge next to your name, you can click the link in the description or hit the join button, check it out for yourself, and see if it's for you. Keep in mind, it is completely up to you. You don't have to if you don't want to. So thank you Crimson, Doc Jericho, Outcome Cammy, Corey Gentleman, Plague Doctor, Joker Clown, Shea, Stephen Barker, Senior Weeb, Artemis the Android, Hammond Vade, Alex Woolard, Onion BB, Copper Crawfish, Shadow Killer, Rafi Levitt, Dredgen Abyss, Yesu, American McGee's, Swift Thunder, Blocky Blinks, The Book of Deuteronomy, Uzumaki Munt, Salty Cracks, MJ Truth, Songbird, Kenwood, Jess, Elvin Cologne, Gaijin and Juice, Christina Rivera, Liquid Bismuth, Alpha One, A. Chavan, Ireland Strike, Edward Cumsty, Envy, Zach Prin, Bonfella, No One of Importance, Mike Hunt, which is funny, Thomas Arden, Blazed, Fran, Wyndham, Sky, Martin or Atlas, and Brad. Thank you all so very much for continuously supporting the channel.